Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. We've got a new deal that's just been announced in the last few minutes. Harry Maguire. I think it's a big mistake. I think it lacks ambition. I like Maguire, but I'll tell you why in a minute. We've got a wild take from Patrice Evra about why Michael Carrick should get the job. It's not quite as bad as licking a chicken, but it's wild in my opinion. Also, we've got, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes on who they keep and sell. They're getting rid of Dorgu and they're getting rid of Yoro. I mean, we'll talk about that and we won't wait till tomorrow. And also, we're going to be talking about a big story coming out about Elliot Anderson this morning where the price is basically agreed. Is it a price that you would agree with? We're talking £100 million. I've seen some people saying, don't spend £100 million on Anderson. You could get a couple of players for 50. Is that not part of the problem sometimes? I know we need quantity, but surely we go with quality as well. And a load of other bits to get into this morning as well. Thank you very much. Thanks for all the birthday messages, by the way. Appreciate that. And thanks everybody who watched Baller League last night. I'm exhausted. I don't know how Mourinho does it every week. That style of football isn't really my style. It's one we had to do. I'm thinking Inter-Barcelona vibes from all those years. We absolutely were brilliant the way we organised it out. To shut a team out to 0 in Baller League, 6-a-side for half an hour, game changers is incredible. So thanks everyone who's following our journey. I told you it would be a journey. Jump on it. The real life career mode. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, let's get into the show. So look, some breaking news coming out from Manchester United this morning. They did drop a picture of a contract on a sunny day in Manchester. And I think we knew straight away it was going to be Mainu or Maguire. I think Mainu probably will happen this week. I think United are doing what they normally do, which is instead of interviewing managers or getting players to sign for us, they start, dropping new contracts like a new signing. So this morning, the first day back to work after 4 days off and an international break, United aren't interviewing a coach. They're not signing a player. They're giving out a new contract to a 34-year-old who probably should be being moved on this summer. Now, I love Harry Maguire. That's not a statement you would have heard from me a few years ago, but I like what he represents. I like the fact that he's a steady defender. I do like Maguire. But you know what? In the aspirations of trying to be a team that's going to challenge the top clubs in Europe and England, I don't actually believe that keeping Harry Maguire at this football club shows any sign of ambition at all. I think it's a stopgap. I think it's papering the cracks. If you know anything about Harry, he will want to play. He will want to play. He will not want to sit on the bench, and I respect that. So you're telling me that next season in a back four, Maguire's starting for Manchester United. We've already seen against Bournemouth where he got sent off. We've already seen it in the last few weeks that those vulnerabilities around pace and age are there, and Man United are there dropping a year contract with the option of another year. So this could be 2 years of Maguire at 33 playing in a back four. I'm sorry. This doesn't show me ambition. This shows me Ineos going, let's give Harry a pay cut and keep him for a year instead of letting him go and buying another centre-back. And that's what it is. And I want to be very, very clear here because it's a great day for Harry Maguire and his family and his fans. And it's got nothing to do with Harry Maguire. Like he deserves to go to the World Cup with England. But this should have been his swan song. I'm not saying drop Maguire is shit. I agree. De Ligt's injured. Martinez has been injured. He's the number 1 centre-back at the moment. But next season's a new season. Next season, we're going to be in the Champions League. We're going to be trying to finish in the top 5, and we're going to be playing with a back 4. And we're going to be using Harry Maguire going into his 34th year after a World Cup. And I'm sort of like, on the one hand, we're building a new stadium and we're going to be great. And on the other hand, they're doing exactly what the Glazers have done for years, which is not move players on. Pep Guardiola, Manchester City, they moved De Bruyne on. They moved Kyle Walker on. They move on, Bernardo Silva's going this year. They've moved David Silva on. They get rid of players at the right time. Man United just keep them like in a bloody museum. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to cheer and shout at Man United for this deal. I'm happy for Maguire. I am happy for him. His comments about Man United and he only wanted to stay here. Absolutely get that. There's 2 separate sides here. I'm really happy for Harry Maguire. It's nothing against him. But from a club perspective, we're not a bloody charity. We should be building a team capable of building towards winning Premier League titles and the Champions League. For me, this is just a stopgap. Nobody can convince me this is for the future. This is just a stopgap. This is like, let's keep him here for another year and solve the problem in the future. And that's why we fail, because we've got idiots in charge who just don't get what we're trying to do. And you've got Man City who would have moved him on. They'd have moved him on. And I've said it before, if Casemiro wasn't out of contract, we'd keep him. We'd be keeping Casemiro, and that's a mistake as well. An experience of what? What is the experience that we're keeping at the football club? The experience of what? Winning the occasional Carabao Cup? Getting into the Champions League once every 2 years? What experience of what? So, no, I'm happy for Harry, but from a club point of view, I think it lacks ambition again. Let's move on. Lots to talk about this morning. Lots of people getting chats in as well. Let's talk about this Elliot Anderson story, because this came out last night from Plettigol, who is Florian Plettenberg, who I believe is, if you've got your tier ones of Ornstein and Romano, I would put Plettigol into tier 2, which is not a bad place to be. I personally think, that he's pretty good around transfers. He says Nottingham Forest expect Manchester United to remain serious contenders for Elliot Anderson. Manchester City are interested too, but all currently focusing on extending Rodri's contract. No direct contact yet. Forest value Anderson at 100 to 120 million pounds. Now, this has sparked. Well, look. Basically, what Forest are doing is they're drawing a line in the sand saying that £100 million is the fee that they want. Let's talk. And they know that they're in a very strong position with both Manchester clubs wanting this player. It was very interesting, actually. I'll bring that in a minute. I think this just comes down to what we were talking about the other day. And I'm happy to run the poll again. Would you pay £100 million? Well, I will run it again, because I genuinely want to know what you think. Would you pay 100 million? Basically, if Elliot Anderson said, I want to sign for you, but Manchester City have offered 100 million, if you offer 100 million, I will sign for Manchester United. So there's no negotiations. Man City have offered 100 million pounds, which they might do. They might do that. And what people do not realise is that we have heard talk about the Anderson price being less. We have heard that it might be 80. We've heard that it might be 70, right? And I think there's a few people, maybe Man United included, going, well, it won't be 100 million. Manchester City, in January, gave Crystal Palace 20 million. Was it 20 million or 25 million for a player that's free in the summer? Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea were waiting until the summer to get him for free and then give him big wages. Man City gave him 300 grand a week and then gave Palace 20 million or 25 million for a player that's got 4 months left on his contract. So even if there is something in there that can get the Anderson price down to 80, I still think Man City might just go, sod it, there's 100. So we might have to give £100 million for Elliot Anderson. So the question is, if Man City have offered £100 million, which they may well do Man United offer 100 if it gets Anderson? And the answer to that question to me is quite simply yes. I don't know why the answer would be no. Because, again, if you go back to the Maguire contract, does that show ambition or are we treading water? If we don't spend £100 million and he goes to Manchester City, are we showing ambition or are we just treading water? Manchester City gave West Ham £100 million for Declan Rice. Chelsea gave Benfica £100 million for Enzo Fernandez and Brighton £100 million for Caicedo. We don't have to like it, but we can no longer sit there and go, well, he's not worth it. We shouldn't pay it. We shouldn't bow down to these silly demands. This is the going rate for a top-class midfielder. And if you haven't watched the video I put up last night, which dispels every myth about Elliot Anderson, this player is worth it. You don't have to pay it. You don't have to go for him. But the drop-off from Elliot, and you need to watch that video last night, because basically I was going through every area: forward passing, tackling, attacking, interceptions. He is above people that we're looking at if we don't get him. People like Adam Wharton don't even figure in the top 10, and he's in it. He's in the top 5. Sometimes he's the top. So if you want the best prospect, best available player in the midfield this summer, then you have to make a statement. Ramadan says £80 million max. I'm glad you're not in charge of the finances, mate, because when they say 85 and you say that's it and you walk away, who are you going to buy us? And that's the thing. There are too many accountants in our fan base. And I understand if you're paying £100 million for bloody Branthwaite, but you're paying £100 million for somebody that Man City will pay £100 million for. I completely agree. Sometimes you've got to say don't pay that when you're the only horse in the race and they're doubling the value. But if Man City are willing to bid £100 million and we just go, no, it's too much, it says exactly what it says on the tin. We lack ambition. So for me, you've got to, if that's the fee to get him, you've got to get him. Because we're not Man City. We're not Arsenal. We're not really Liverpool. We are a team that has an amazing name and an amazing history. But factually, if we weren't called Manchester United, we may as well be called Tottenham. Because we are not a team that is challenging for big trophies, and we are not a team that's consistently in the Champions League. And last season, we were in the bottom half, and we lost the Europa League final. And we have finished outside of the top four a lot. So if we want to be there, there's a direct correlation, in my opinion, to buying good players. And some of our fans still want to be accountants and go, we shouldn't pay it. Well, we won't be there then, will we? And then you'll be moaning about sacking the next manager, and you'll be saying Glazer's out for a few weeks a year, and you'll be saying, oh my God, we've got a crap director of football. I think sometimes you've got to look at the player you're going for and go, how important is that? Who else is looking for him? We need to go and get him. And the price for me, £100 million, is a lot of money. But I think, if I'm being fair, unless there's a release clause in there, which we've not heard about, or there's something in there, if they get relegated, which I don't think they will, are Nottingham Forest wrong to ask for £100 million for Elliot Anderson, considering the season he's had, the fact that he's a starter for England, the fact that he's in the top 2 or 3 for every key indicator for a midfielder this season, and the fact that Manchester City would happily pay north of £90 million for him? You either write that check or you don't. And if we're not gonna, I tell you what, if we're not willing to write that check, what have we been doing for 8 months, telling the world that he's our top priority? I mean, from basically the transfer window closing in August last year to today, we've never heard anything else other than Elliot Anderson is Man United's priority. Are you going to tell me they're suddenly going to go, well, we didn't realise it was that much, we're leaving? You know, it's very, very obvious that it's going to be a lot of money, isn't it? So I would pay it. Definitely. Ben Jacobs said it wouldn't be higher than 65 million, says Can. He did say something about that. You're absolutely right. But we'll have to wait and see. Lee Cape Town says, honest truth for Anderson, I'd pay 110. JSD says, I'd walk away. We need quantity. Our squad is in thin. Would rather get Stiller and Gomez. Instead, we could get 3 players for that price. I think this is an interesting conversation. Do you spend £100 million on Elliot Anderson, or do you spend £100 million on João Gomez and Scott, or Baleba and João Gomez? If they're both not good enough, you've just wasted £100 million. That's the balancing act. But Man United should be buying quantity anyway. If they've not factored in the price of Elliot Anderson, they can't just suddenly, as I said a couple of minutes ago, if they go, oh, we really want him, but we didn't realise he was going to be that much, that's a cop-out to me. Syndicate says, I still believe Stiller could be our main target for the midfield. We should already have that deal done, to be honest, says Syndicate. Well, look, I think with regards to Stiller, it sort of does come down to what and how powerful Faval is this summer, because Stiller will be massive on Faval's transfer list. And I also think that if we could get Nagelsmann, then I think he would probably look at him as well, having had him in the England squad. I'm not so sure that's gonna happen though, because I mean, look, I'll bring this in here. I've got to bring this in. Maybe it's more of an 8 o'clock show thing, but we've got plenty for the 8 o'clock show tonight. So, Patrice Evra. It's not as bad as licking a raw chicken, but this to me is... let me just say this, right? We're going to talk about what Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt have said about who they'd sell and keep. And maybe I should do a video on that this week, but it's wild, some of the stuff. They'd sell Yoro, right? Okay? We'll get into that in a minute. But we've spoken about what Rooney wants, Carrick. Ryan Giggs wants Carrick. Nicky Butt wants Carrick. Scholes, I think, wants Carrick. Roy Keane, to be fair, doesn't want Carrick under any circumstances, which I think is too far the other way. I think Neville at the moment is not quite Carrick, but I think any minute that he's going to say Carrick. He's probably just waiting for football to come back on Sky. We've got Evra I'm about to tell you about. Let me just say this, because I don't know where you are, right? I do respect our ex-players. I do respect our ex-players. They've earned that respect for what they did on the pitch. And God, we could do with the likes of Evra and Neville and Scholes and Giggs and Rooney now on the pitch. Off the pitch, I think their opinion is no better than Marvin in our chat, who I respect but disagree with a lot. I genuinely think the ex-player problem is they are stuck. And look, what a place to live. You know, your success of your career was being one of the greats at Man United, winning things. But I actually think that that's their weakness, because I think they're so obsessed with what they did and what they think should happen at Man United that they continually come up with these terrible takes about, I'd give it to Carrick. He's winning games, so I'd give it to Carrick. He knows what Man United's all about. He knows about the players. I'd give it to Carrick. And I just think that you don't get any substance to it. You don't. So you're giving it. Can I just ask you? You're giving it to Carrick today? Yeah. You're not interviewing anybody else? No. So you're actually just going to give an interim manager the job without running a recruitment process? Yeah, because he gets it. He knows what United's all about. Yeah, this is why Sir Alex Ferguson gave it to David Moyes, isn't it? You know, you're great people with great history, but I don't think you tapped into what the club needs and what the club is today, because it's not that club anymore. Giving it to an ex-player who is a United great, I don't think that's the right thing to do in 2026. And I think so many of our players, our ex-players, are locked into that world that doesn't exist anymore. I think they're like, we need to go back and do what we used to do. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I really do not think you can go back anymore. I want us to go back, but I don't. I don't think you can go, let's get a guy in who knows what Man United's all about from the good old days. Liverpool wasted 30 years doing this in different ways. Liverpool got back because they brought a guy in from the Bundesliga who'd never played for Liverpool, who'd never managed in the Premier League, who they profiled as being the right character with the right morals and the right brand of football to rebuild Liverpool Football Club. And now he's a Liverpool great, and his name is Jurgen Klopp. Man United our ex-players community are just obsessed with what they did, and let's try and do it again. And it won't work. The models we need to look at are Man City, who looked at our model and brought it into the modern times. The model we need to look at is Liverpool under Klopp, who looked at under our model, and instead of getting Sir Alex Ferguson out of Scotland, who'd never played for Man United either, they got Jurgen Klopp out of Dortmund. If we want to go back and follow our model, we never used a current player to make Man United great. We used Sir Alex Ferguson, who was managing Aberdeen in Scotland, and we character profiled him and said, that's the guy that's going to rebuild Man United. He had no connection to Man United at all. But we shouldn't be going back to the past anyway. We should be looking at what Liverpool did with Klopp, and I think that is the model Man United need to follow. We need to find the guy with the right style of football, the right mentality, the right morals that fit with what we want to do, bring them in from outside and let them build the club. And that is not, let's get a player from the past who knows the United way. That's not what we need to do, in my opinion. But look, that was a bit of a long-winded precursor to what I think is a wild statement by Patrice Evra. Some of you will like it. He says, I'm living in the present. Carrick needs to qualify for the Champions League. Some people say he doesn't have the experience, but we did that in the past. We bring Jose, we bring Van Gaal, we bring Amorim, and it did not work. Now it is working, so let's see. Wow. So you're saying that we don't need experience because it didn't work in the past. We brought Jose, Van Gaal, Amorim, and it didn't work. Now it is working within experience. And I think this is wild. I think this is absolutely wild because what he's basically saying is, in my interpretation, is we've brought experience in the past. That doesn't work. It is working at the moment, so let's go with this. I mean, we're playing one game a week, Patrice. Everyone else is falling apart around us because they're playing a lot of football. You've had some good results, and it's an interim. And we've got a squad full of light switch players who will turn the light on when it's an interim. It will go straight off next season, and then you're stuck with an inexperienced coach playing twice a week, and the club's wasted a load of money on the summer on him, right? In my opinion, that could happen. But Jose Mourinho didn't work. Jose Mourinho won us the Europa League, the Carabao Cup, took us to second place, and got sacked because the board and the players stabbed him in the back. I think Jose Mourinho's period at Man United is the best we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. So I wouldn't say Mourinho didn't work. It worked to a point where he got stabbed in the back by the problems that the Glazers created in creating player power. With regards to Van Gaal, I mean, it didn't work, but he won an FA Cup. You could say with Ten Hag it didn't work, but he won a Carabao Cup and an FA Cup. I wouldn't say it didn't work with Ten Hag, Mourinho and Van Gaal. In the context of the last 13 years, they're the most successful periods of our last 13 years. I don't know why he brings Amorim into it, because Amorim wasn't experienced. So, he says Carrick doesn't have experience, but we've done that in the past. Amorim didn't have experience, so I don't know what that's all about. But he also doesn't mention Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who had no experience and was a complete waste of time. So this is what I mean about ex-players. Like, they have a loyalty to their previous teammates. I think with Ole, you had Keane and Neville, who played with Ole, and they loved Ole, and they wouldn't say a bad word about Ole. We're now getting the next wave. We're now with the 08 team. You got Evra, you got Rooney. We love Carrick because it's their mate. And we're just, in my opinion, we're walking straight into the same mistake we did with Ole. We have the ex-players of Ole, Ole, and now we've got Evra and Rooney, who are his mates, going, Carrick. He doesn't need experience. He knows the club. Oh, my God. I'm more than happy to have a debate with anyone in this chat or anybody outside. He doesn't need experience because he played for the club. Well, let's talk about experience about the club. Tell me an ex-player at Man United that's come in and done well at Man United. Tell me an ex-player at Liverpool that came in and did well. Because it does. Experience, the United way. Our history is not bringing in an ex-player as an interim and taking over the world. We've never done that. It's never done that. So I think that what we need to do is stop listening to these ex-players and their sentimentality and start thinking about what clubs in the modern day have been successful from a low bar and are now succeeding. And the number one for me is what Liverpool did with Klopp. And there is somebody out there that we could go and try and do that with, but I'm not here to push that. Okay, right. Let me get into some of your comments, because a lot of people putting stuff in this morning and I feel I'm neglecting you. And I want to get into this incredible... look, it's a great format. I think we started it, actually. Oh, no, we're not going to claim that. Sell or keep. I will do a video on it, but Scholes and Butt have done it. And, the ex-player community, welcome to the world of influencers. You can't make everybody happy. But Goldbridge, Harron Ball on a Monday night, lovely stuff, says Mordo. I feel like I need to do a video on last night. I've got to be honest, if you haven't watched it, it goes against everything Goldbridge Ball's meant to be, but it does show my tactical flexibility to go and win a game. And there was only one way we were going to win that game last night, and we needed to basically lock it down, and we did. And ultimately, I think that's the sign of a good coach, because Sir Alex Ferguson used to do that away in the Champions League. He'd lock it down, take a draw, and then win the home games. It was David against Goliath as well. If Southampton are playing Arsenal at the weekend, should they open up and play open like they do in the Championship, or should they be compact and organised? It doesn't sit right with me morally in relation to I know how I want football to be played. But if I'd tried to do that last night, I think we'd have got beat. So, You've got to be adaptable sometimes, haven't you? Happy birthday, Mark. Wishing you a day filled with happiness and may all your birthday wishes come true. Also, up the Gold Devils, says Max. Thank you very much for your super chat and your message. Brian McDonald has gifted a membership. Thank you very much, Brian. Jem says, happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. What a way to start off with a Gold Devils win over Prime. Seb was brilliant too, says James. Yeah, he's knackered now. He loved it, though. Thank you, James. Maz Rawawi says, does KSI hate you now after you Southgated him? I mean, mate, I don't know what went wrong at full time. I gave the gong, I celebrated for a few seconds, and then respect kicked in. I'm walking around shaking everyone's hands, and the next thing, you're in the middle of a bloody fight. I don't even know what it was about. Forza gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Ross has gifted a membership as well. People are gifting memberships this morning. Ray Carl, legend, says happy birthday, mate. Many more. Thank you, Ray. Hope you're doing well. Sam says happy birthday. What a win last night. Now for Cobby to sign his deal, says Sam. I think he will. I think he will sign it this week. I think that will be probably in the next 48 hours. Vib says, happy birthday. You are one of the most entertaining people online. Also, please put your name in the hat for the United manager job after last night, says Vib. And Daniel Thompson says, hi, Mark and United Stand. Hope you're well. Happy birthday. Thank you for everything you've done and do. We're proud to be fans of you. Seb and all your family are proud, most of all your granddad. He's most proud. Have a great day and enjoy yourself. Thank you, Daniel. Lovely message. I appreciate that. One of the nicest messages I've had today, so thank you. Tubby says, do you back our chances to secure Anderson over City from what you've heard and feel? Well, 62% of you would sign Anderson for £100 million. I'm with you on that. Answering the question, I've always felt that there is a chance of Anderson coming to Manchester United, and it mainly comes from Ben Jacobs' updates. I just feel that if we hadn't had what Ben Jacobs had said, I'd say, why would he sign for Man United? I mean, Man United next season could be a shit show. I mean, if we get the manager wrong, we get the transfers wrong, we're doubling up on games, you're keeping people like Maguire around, who's going to be playing at centre-back a lot, and with respect to Harry, that, to me, is not moving forward. I think next season could be a right shit show. If you're Elliot Anderson, you've got to have an agent that's going to predict that, and why would you sign yourself into that when you can go to Man City, where I think they'll win the league next year? So I would say he's going to Man City because it's the logical, intelligent thing to do. But I just have this feeling from some of the updates that Ben Jacobs has given that we've got a chance. Harry says, can you please put your name forward to be the new United manager? Class last night. Thank you, pal. I still believe Angelo Stiller. Done that one from Syndicate. Okay, I'm catching up now. This is good. Bailey Darley, thanks for your super chat. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Thank you. I will be on the 8 o'clock show tonight because it's a Tuesday. I was busy last night, so a little bit of things happening today, but mainly I've got some stuff going on towards the end of the week. So yeah, when you get to my age, it's not an event. It's just a number, which is what you should treat your age as anyway. I think when you're younger, you hit the big ones, the 18th, the 21st, maybe your 30th. But I think you get to a certain age where every year's a gift, and when you get to that mentality, it becomes less of an event and more of a smile, really, because there's so many people who I care about that aren't here anymore at my age, and that's quite. I know this is a football show, but that's quite humbling, I suppose. Well, it is in the sense that sometimes I think you think about, will I live till 80 or 90? I think you get to a point where you sort of like you never know what tomorrow's going to bring, and you should just not stress about hitting 40 or 30 or 25 or whatever. Don't stress about it. It's you never know how long you've got. Can we get a video comparing Anderson and the other 100 million centre midfielders in the Premier League like Rice and Enzo, for example, says Dinham? Well, we sort of have, Dinham. It's on the show from last night, because what I did on the Elliot Anderson video last night was basically tell you where he is this season in comparable to every other midfielder on 6 really key areas: interceptions, defensive actions, attacking actions, passing, forward passing, interceptions. And he's above Declan Rice, and he's above Enzo Fernandez, and he's above Caicedo. So he ranks above them all. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day, says Bailey. Thank you very much. Also, Kizale says happy birthday as well. Appreciate that. Rob Always United with a very generous super chat says have a birthday pint on me. Thank you, pal. And the Nooch says the closest a former player has won anything significant wasn't even at our club. It was Di Matteo winning the Champions League with Chelsea. I think this is a great point. I think that ex-players are very vocal. I like that. They are legends for a reason. But I just don't think being an ex-footballer necessarily makes your opinion better than fans. I mean, look at what Rio Ferdinand said about Anderson. Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali wouldn't be my first choice midfield signings this summer. It's Elliot Anderson, he's 23. Guimaraes is 28, Tonali's 25, soon to be 26, so that counts a lot for me. I want a young, hungry players in my squad. That terrifies me from Ferdinand. I am starting to call this out. The club and Ferdinand, I reckon, Marlowe said it, so I'll give him credit. I reckon it's almost PR now. A lot of the stuff he says, it's almost like, but that's a parameter for Man United. So this is an ex-player again getting involved in stupidity around. It's important to me that he's 23 and Tonali's 26. I want young, hungry players in my squad. And yet this is a guy that played in a team that was very successful, that had experienced players to help him. When Rio Ferdinand came to Manchester United, there was Giggs, there was Keane, there was Scholes, there was experience. And he, who is an ex-player of Man United, is going, I don't want a 25-year-old, I don't want a 28-year-old, I want a 23-year-old because I want young, hungry players who don't have any experience, which is the Chelsea problem. So again, an ex-player completely and utterly letting their mouth run away without thinking. And this is the thing, legends as players, but their opinions don't matter more than yours, in my opinion. He said, but I do agree with him about Anderson, but not on the age thing. I think that's just wild. He says, I think Anderson would complement Mainu because I think Mainu is going to be one of the main players in the team now, and we're going to build around him, and I think Anderson complements him. I think Anderson's better than Mainu, Rio, and I think by saying that we're going to build a team around Mainu, you're just going to get people's back up. I like Mainu, but there is no justification that we're building a team around a player that's not actually playing amazing at the moment. I think Anderson becomes the main player and Mainu complements him, is where I would say. He says, Anderson's got mobility and energy to get around the park. We need those legs and he wins the ball. He's more competitive than Tonali and Guimaraes. And again, he doesn't watch football, does he? Elliot Anderson is more competitive and has more legs than Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't technically maybe have a little bit more, but Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali are two of the most competitive midfielders in Europe. And it's, again, I just think, like, does he get a phone call from Man United saying, Rio, do you want an interview with Sesko? Yeah, right. We need you to say, buying young players is good. We don't want people over 25. And also, we need you to kill the Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes story. So basically say they're a couple of snails and Anderson's much better than them and he's more aggressive. I'm on it. I'm on it. Right. It just feels like, Elliot Anderson over Tonali, okay, fine. But the justification behind it is just, again, wild. I want to get into this. I don't know who it is, but we thought about Aberdeen's manager, says Bradley, and I've watched one press conference since Carrick took charge. Boring. His football is counter-attack as well, says Dazzo. The United way is a philosophy, not a methodological framework. We need to change with the times. Also, happy birthday, says Paul. Hi, congratulations on Baller League, says Bailey. Hope we get a new manager and we get some transfer players in the summer. Luke says, should we be concerned that there doesn't seem to be a solid profile of midfielder we're looking for? We seem to be linked to any midfielder that wants to leave their club. 85% of them feel like spin from agents, love from Australia. I think you know what? I think that is a clever point. I mean, are we profiling midfielders or are we just throwing names out there? Because Tonali's different to Wharton. Stiller's different to Anderson. Balaba's very different to João Gomez. Like, we're meant to be building a midfield. We're meant to be replacing Casemiro. I think, what is the profile of midfielder that we're actually looking for? Because if you wanted to replace Rodri at Manchester City, you wouldn't go for Balaba. You wouldn't go for João Gomez. And you probably wouldn't go for Stiller. But you might go for Anderson and Wharton and see something in them. But United seem to be throwing loads of names in. sometimes, like, you're right. What profile are we actually looking for? Kizale says, with Edison going to Atletico Madrid, he would have been a decent buy. We need Fernandez or Gomez, and one of Tonali, Gomes, Anderson should be a must, says Kizale. I thought Scholes and Butt was AI at first. They're dinosaurs, says Andron. I'd rather have our ex-Brazilian Anderson than Elliot Anderson. Bloke is living off one clip of him dribbling in an England club. Call up, says Matey boy. I mean, he's definitely not. We're Manchester United. We should do it. Realistically, we don't have ambitious owners. I don't see them spending more than 80 on a single player. The owners have systematically lowered the standards, says Dayan. Do you think player power is coming back at Man United? I mean, that's wild from me. Do you think player power is coming back to Man United? I thought under Amorim, we were removing player power. I don't think Rashford leaving Man United has ever been discussed properly. I mean, I think that was huge. I never thought Rashford would go. Garnacho, gone. Sancho, got rid of. Like, I think we were really doing good work in removing player power. Do you think it's coming back now under Carrick? I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. I think I might have read it somewhere last night. And player power isn't just like a negative thing. It's like you become very reliant on certain players instead of actually building a system. And I think the way we've played, I think on the pitch, player power has come back. I think we're very reliant on Casemiro. I think we're very reliant on Harry Maguire. And I think we're very reliant on Bruno Fernandes. And whilst other players have done quite well, Le Mans, Cunha, I think we've gone back to being very reliant on certain players again who are all over 30. That screams of short-termism to me. I don't know about player power in the dressing room. That's not really what I'm talking about. But I think we've become very reliant on player power on the pitch again. For saying they were in close proximity to the greatest manager the game has ever seen, our ex-players are oddly blind to what would make a great manager for Man United. It's ironic, really, says Emily. Thank you, Emily. Thanks for your super chat. Patrick Lynch says, how do you feel Anderson will do if we get him? Given how it will be a huge price tag, probably Carrick as manager, and likely that it will be him, Manu and probably Baleba, just like managers, we set players up to struggle. It would concern me, Patrick, that setup, if I'm being completely honest. Tech Empire says Enrique or Nagelsmann wouldn't agree with contract extension of players like Maguire. It's worrying, guys. The club do not seem to progress. Carrick it is. Yeah, I think they're going to give it to Carrick, which is why I'm so vocal against doing it and saying they've got to interview other people. But I think everything they're doing at the moment screams of Carrick. Carrick would 100% give Maguire a contract. Yeah, I think it's inevitable, really. But I don't have to be on board with it. And I think it's wrong to give an interim a manager again without interviewing top-class candidates. But you're right. I don't think... I mean, if you're the new manager... Well, hypothetically, if you're the new manager of Man United and you're not even in post and you're seeing them renew contracts of players, I'd be sort of like... Well, I wouldn't have done that, you know? Congratulations on your victory against Checkbook FC, Mark. It was a victory for David against Goliath. Your keeper, Sané, is MVP. Insane performance, as Rajaf. Thank you very much, pal. Henry says, since Anderson is 100 million and Tonali is probably going to be the same price, who would you like for Man United to buy and who do you think you would buy? 100 million for Tonali, probably going to be the same price. Who would you buy? I would get Tonali. Happy birthday, says Mojo. You're a legend, mate. I would go Tonali over Anderson. But that's because I think Anderson is... I would like both. But I think Tonali's more of a dead cert. He's played in the Champions League. He's 26. He's ran that midfield for Newcastle. I think for what Man United need, it's close. It's very, very close. But Tonali is the player I would spend the money on. And the reason United won't spend that money, and they will spend it on Anderson, is a 3-year age gap and a British passport, if we're being honest. Tonali is the right player to go for. Absolutely. But we're Manchester United. We don't do the right things, do we? Emily Derry says, Anderson is the best available. He's in demand, so Forest can demand what they want. Our midfield needs quality. João Gomez makes more sense now. Baleba and Carrick is quite clearly Wilcox's man, says Marlowe. He won't accept to lose the internal battle on both, so who do you choose? God, I do not want Baleba. I don't want Baleba. I mean, I actually think Baleba will do okay if we sign him. because he'll get his dream move and he can't be as shit as he is at Brighton. But ultimately, I don't think he's good enough. Hitton says, things like keeping Carrick and getting 4 players every summer lets the owners get another 2 years to survive major backlash. Stupid to hope for more from them. Hitton, the owners aren't going anywhere. I mean, the minute that stadium starts being built, it's over. They're never gone. Mojo has gifted 10 memberships. Thank you very much, pal. Legend, as always. Cameron says, happy birthday, enjoy your day. Love from Northern Ireland, says Cameron. Anderson's shirt sales would fly off the shelves, says John. And the Nooch has gifted 10 memberships. What a legend. Lee Cape Town says, honest truth for Anderson, I'd pay 110. Done that. Right, okay, I think I've nearly caught up now. I want to talk about this buy and sell stuff that Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes have done. Happy birthday, King, says Doug. Thank you so much. Let me just get this up on the screen because seeing is believing, and I can't believe some of the stuff they've said. Please do smash a like on the video, by the way. 7,000 nearly watching this morning. We're building back to football. It's been a long break. First game of next season, we could have Maguire, Shaw starting and Carrick in the dugout. If we do this, we're not serious, says Dazzo. And Delo at right back. Happy birthday, done that one. I think a resurgence of player power is a risk, says Emily Derry, when you bring in an interim due to the nature of the remit. It's why I have concerns about giving Carrick the job and part of why Ollie failed. Fair point. Raj says, hi, Sir Alex Bridge. Any return news on Martinez? He's back training this week. Martinez. Yeah, he's back training this week. Andy Atherton says, happy birthday. Like you, my granddad introduced me to this great club. Obviously, I can't take you for a pint, but I'll happily donate £100, £10, £100 to a charity of choice. You're a legend. Thank you, Andy. You're absolutely fantastic. Keep your money in your pocket with regards to charity, because I do that once a year and everyone puts their money in their pocket for that. So let's wait till November on that one. But a lovely gesture. Thank you, sir. If Gomez was at a bigger club, he would be 60 million plus, says MK. And DM says, have a pint on me. Thank you very much. You should be United Sporting Director. I think you do a better job than the Pratt. Well, as him, I think my cat would do a better job than that. And he's a right lazy shit. Happy birthday. Have a great day, says Stuart. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm all caught up on those lovely messages. If you do want to say happy birthday, just smash a like on the video. It will save us reading any more out. And we can get on with this. So, I mean, look, this is as good as your opinion. To me, there's nothing in here that okay, so basically, Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt have got a podcast and they've done keep or sell for Man United players. I'm going to whiz through some of them, but again, I would say this about ex-players. Their opinion is no better than yours. Some of them wouldn't like me saying that. It's not being disrespectful. The respect comes from what you did in a Man United shirt, and I'd love to sit and talk to them about what it was like and, you know, the stories and everything like that. But modern day football, apart from knowing what it's like to be a professional footballer, I think their judgment is tainted by their obsession from the world that they lived in. And I think some of these are just strange to me. But they'd probably say my opinions are strange or your opinions are strange. So they were asked about Delo. Both said definitely keep. But then when they were asked about Mazraoui, they said sell. Doesn't fit the system. Not been playing much. I mean, I don't know. Look, I've said this before. I think Delo is mentality-wise, I don't know Delo, but I imagine he's a really nice guy. I've listened to some of his interviews. I think he gets what Man United's all about. In a way, he's Michael Carrick. You know, I think Michael Carrick knows what Man United's all about. He's a nice guy, this, that, and the other. But is he a top manager? No, not in my opinion. He's not been proven, right? And with Delo, I think he's a nice guy, and he's just not good enough. Delo's 27 and Mazraoui's 28. They're basically the same age. So we're definitely keeping Delo, but we're selling Mazraoui. And we're selling Mazraoui, why? Because Carrick doesn't pick him. Well, I don't trust Carrick's judgment. I think if we had a proper experienced coach, Mazraoui plays ahead of Delo. So I'm not keeping Delo and selling Mazraoui. But apparently Scholes and Butt are doing that. And I'm like, what? Under what justification? You're saying you'd sell Mazraoui because he's not playing much. That's because the manager keeps picking Delot, who's not good enough. So I think that for me, that one is, you know, easily wrong. But let me know your thoughts. De Ligt, they both said they'd keep, and they wouldn't get rid of him. Maguire, they've said keep. Martinez, keep. When he's playing, he's good. I'd keep him. Lenny Yoro, loan, not keep long term. I'd be putting him out on loan. Needs a bit of time. They say if a choice has to be made, he's not ready to stay. That one's mad to me, Lenny Yoro, because I mean we're giving Harry Maguire a contract at 33, and we're loaning out Lenny Yoro. That is just wrong. Like that's my explanation straight away. Like, we bought Lenny Yoro to be to be a generational future centre back, and we're keeping Harry Maguire at 33. So we're keeping Harry Maguire and we're getting rid of Lenny Yoro. I mean, what are we planning then? What are we trying to do? I mean, Paul Scholes said himself, I don't think Harry Maguire is the sort of player you should be keeping if you're going to try and win a Premier League. But then we're loaning out Lenny Yoro. I'm like, this is where we go wrong. We don't need to buy a load of players under 23. We need a bit of experience and we need to develop youth better. Lenny Yoro is a developmental player. If we loan him out for somebody else to do it, why did we buy him in the first place? This needs calling out. If you buy Dorgu and Yoro, you have a responsibility to develop them. You don't buy them and go, I hope they're going to be good. You don't buy a plant and then stick it in your cellar and don't feed it and don't give it any light. You actually have to nurture and feed them. So Lenny Yoro is our responsibility. Can't loan him or sell him. We spent a lot of money on a player that Real Madrid wanted who would be developing him far better than us. The pathway to the first team for Lenny Yoro needs to be made. That is Michael Carrick's job. That is the next manager's job. That was Ruben Amorim's job. You have to have a pathway to the first team for Lenny Yoro. And if we're going to say, oh, he's not playing much, let's loan him, who's responsible for that? If you're loaning Lenny Yoro, you're sacking Jason Wilcox, in my mind, because he is the guy who has signed a cheque for £50 million for a player that's not playing. That has to be part of your overall job as a director of football. You can't just buy a player and go, well, I thought they were going to be good. It's your job to make sure your manager is picking them. And what have you done? You've just gone and given a contract to a 33-year-old that will want to play next year. So where's Lenny Yoro getting any game time? Where does Lenny Yoro get game time next season? The mad thing is, Scholes and Butt are probably right. He probably is better off going on loan, but that's a failure on the club. Why did we buy Lenny Yoro? When Amorim was here, when you're playing with three centre-backs, he's got more chance of playing. You've now decided you want to go to a back four, Wilcox's idea apparently. Where's Lenny Yoro's future at Man United? We have, at this moment in time, Lenny Yoro has been absolutely screwed over by Wilcox. Come to Man United. Come to Man United. Don't go to Real Madrid. We're gonna build you out. Can't get in the fucking team. And people say, well, you're not good enough. I'm sorry. That's not how it works. Of course he's going to not be good enough, but you don't buy a player on false promises. You've got to let him play to get good enough. And I don't know what the pathway is for Yoro, but it would be an absolute laugh if we get rid of him. Dorgu, they both said sell. At best, uncertain, not a long-term keep. Both acknowledge he's done great and scored, but question his position. Not really played wing-back, unsure what he is. I mean, this is probably the worst one of the lot for me because I'm Team Dorgu. A lot of fans were against Dorgu at the start. Then they've come round. He's had a bad injury. He was arguably our best player in the Arsenal-Man City games. Then he got injured. He was playing on the wing. That's probably his best position. I'm not convinced at left back, but I think Dorgu off the left-hand side in a more attacking position, that's where he needs to be. And he's only 21. So, again, we're selling a player because we're uncertain about him. What are we doing? What are we saying about Yoro and Dorgu? Move them on, long-term not good enough. They're kids. They're bloody kids. If we'd have done that to Scholes and Butt at 20, it wouldn't be very nice, would it? Like, they're literally kids who've shown potential. And Man United, I mean, if this was Mainu, I bet they wouldn't be getting rid of Mainu. Oh, no, it's all about Man United. So I don't get that. Let's sell and loan Lenny Oro and Dorgu, but they're literally the same as Mainu. They're kids. We're meant to be developing them, and Dorgu, to me, goes straight into the team over Cunha when he's fit. That's how good he was playing. So if you want to know where Dorgu plays in this system, his best 2 games in a Man United shirt are under Carrick on the left wing. So that's where Dorgu plays. And I want to see more of it. And I want to see patience with it because he's also a kid. Oh, no. Oh, God. I can't breathe. Somebody, my arm, shooting pains. I need a help. Help. I can't believe, I hadn't even read this one. Oh, my God. The fall off of ex-players. They're dead. They're dead. No one's ever going to listen to an ex-player again. This is the worst of the lot. Luke Shaw, keep. When Luke Shaw's fit, he's the best left-back in Europe. What? In what year? In what year? 2020? Keep Luke Shaw. He's the best left-back in Europe when he's fit. Mate, he's averaging 1 cross every 90 minutes. He barely goes past the halfway line. He's not even a left-back. He's somebody who stands in a left-back position and acts like a centre-back. He's slower than a turd in concrete. Oh, my God. And don't listen to these people on who the Man United manager should be. Don't listen to ex-players on who the Man United manager should be. They're lost. They're lost in a world that we don't know the rules to. They're legends of the game. Appreciate them. Respect them. They are legends, but do not listen to them about the future of Man United. Because there's just some weird logic that we mere mortals cannot understand. Keep Luke Shaw. He's the best left-back in Europe when he's fit. He's been fit all season. And he's not even in the top 10 left-backs in the Premier League. Fact. He's not good. Ricky's dancing around the garden at the moment. I've told you, pick a card. I told you, Mark. Scholes and Butt, they know what they're on about. Pick a card. I mean, that to me is just the worst. The worst. I cannot. I cannot. Casemiro sell. Well, he's already gone. Has no one told him that? Mason Mount. I'd probably sell him. Great footballer, but he's never going to play in front of Bruno Fernandes. Doesn't play enough games. Yeah. I mean, there's some bad ones in there, but keeping Delo, keeping Luke Shaw, keeping Maguire, getting rid of Dorgu and Yoro. I just think Evra wanting Carrick, Rooney wanting Carrick, Ferdinand wanting Carrick. It's just... There are certain things about ex-players I like to listen about, but the modern game and where football needs to go and where Man United need to go, I just think it's too... And we don't know what the relationships with these players are. It's probably easy to say get rid of Dorgu and Yoro because they don't know them. But they probably know Luke Shaw. And we have to remember that. There's mates rates going on in here as well. Brands, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. With Chelsea being on fire, says Ravel, what's stopping us from getting Caicedo, assuming we spend big on a midfielder? I mean, I would take Caicedo, but I don't think it would ever happen. Congratulations on the win, says Kareem, and happy birthday. Thank you, pal. Plantman says, happy birthday, Mark. Legendary performance last night from the GoldDevils. The other manager was a prat and deserved to eat crow. Cheers, mate, says Plant. Would Sene do better than Anana, says Mazraoui? I think he probably would. My lad Kalen is 5 today, always shares birthday with the legend, says Michael. Happy birthday to Kalen. And Jonathan says, unfortunately, regardless of who gets the job, the beginning of the season is going to be a rough start due to the World Cup. I believe this pushes the board to keep Carrick because of comfortability and incompetence. Happy birthday, says Doug. Thank you very much. Tristan's been a member for 46 months. Don't forget to get your badge in if you're not a member at the moment. Thank you very much for that. We've got some exciting stuff coming up with the memberships at the end of the month, so get in ahead of everybody else. What a show this morning. Absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Lots to discuss, but I'm back with you on the 8 o'clock show, and I feel like some of this needs to be revisited. I mean, wow. I just think always the message of the day is listen, but don't be persuaded. have the courage of conviction to make your own mind up based on what's important to you and all the information available. Too many people listen to an ex-player and go, they're a legend, they must be right. And I think today we've disproved that. Like, they don't know anything more than you. They're just people who like football, who happen to be legends who played the game. I don't think playing the game makes you have a better opinion than you. And I think some of them are just wild. They're wild opinions. But it creates interesting conversation. Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. Great show. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Tonight, actually, just very, very quickly, I talk about the 8 o'clock show. This is tiredness kicking in. Obviously, it's a 7 o'clock show tonight because it's Champions League night tonight and one of the best games of the season. I'm looking forward to this. Bayern against Real Madrid. Oh, just can't wait. Can't wait. So I will be on That's Football at 8 o'clock for Bayern, Real Madrid, Arsenal Sporting. So we'll be on at 7 o'clock here tonight. Tune in for that. 2 o'clock back with Beth. Speak to you all in a bit.